I've been studying the Kaizen method for embodiment because so much of what I teach on this channel has to do with embodiment, because embodiment is truly the only way to actually change your life. You can have all of the ideas, you can have the knowledge and the wisdom, but the action part is where most people fail. And the reason why they fail is because they overthink processes, they overthink everything, and they procrastinate. But the Kaizen method helps you to eliminate procrastination. It helps you to actually embody the version of yourself who gets shit done. Because we all know that we can't rely on motivation, right? Motivation is fleeting. You can't rely on your mood or even inspiration, because even inspiration is fleeting. So instead of relying on emotional habits, we need to rely on methods. And when you can rely on a method consistently and use that method on a daily basis, then you will actually reach your goals. And not only reach your goals, you're going to reach your goals because you're going to be embodying the energy of the person who gets things done. So a combination of what I'm going to be talking about today in this video is the Kaizen method and the Bushido code. These are two different ancient Chinese philosophies that were kind of like woven together to help you understand how you can move from only thinking about things and trying to problem solve within your mind to actually move into action and get things done. So step one is Kaizen, the power of small wins. We all need this as human beings in order to feel like we are moving forward. Kaizen means change for the better. So this is tiny, consistent steps that you are taking to move forward, not big leaps. And I know from personal experience, anytime I try to go all in, as I've actually talked about in this channel before, like it's time to go all in, and modern society loves that phrase, go all in. Your human brain doesn't really work with go all in because it becomes extremely overwhelmed. Your physical body isn't going to be sustaining that go all in energy. It can't, because your energy fluctuates, your mood, your feelings, all of that fluctuate on a daily basis. But Kaizen teaches the method where you are taking tiny, consistent steps. So these are little, tiny, incremental changes that you are making. You are basically becoming 1% better every single day. That is something, when you make it easy for the brain like that, that is something that your brain can work with. It's something that your brain is not going to fight, because you're only asking yourself to be 1% better every single day, not 50% better or 60 or 100% better. I mean, when you think of just rationally think about 50% better, that's a massive leap that you are expecting yourself to take, especially if you are someone who is going from crawling to now you're expecting yourself to start running. You're not going to be able to do it, because the go all in mindset, I feel like that comes from this instant gratification, instant transformation. Like that's what we all want. And our brain likes to fool us into believing that we can have instant transformation, when in reality, it does take time. It takes time for habits to build, and it takes time for your body to change, to transform. You don't just go to the gym tomorrow and start looking buff because you lifted weights once, right? There is this method. There is a process that needs to happen. And so any changes that you want to make in a positive direction in your life, you're going to have to make it through tiny incremental changes. That's what step one is all about. It's the power of small wins. When you feel like you are winning every single day because of that 1% improvement, you are so much more likely to keep going than if you were to try and go all in, take massive leaps of action, which is always going to lead you to burnout, because you haven't built up the momentum, you haven't built up the stamina to be able to sustain that. We have to keep in mind that nobody becomes a master overnight. We become masters over time. I talked in yesterday's video about shifting habits, right? About doing different things, especially under this Venus Jupiter conjunction today, right? Like really making sure that what you are expanding today is positive. It is something that is moving you forward in the right direction. And so if you want to start reading more books, because I mentioned, read books instead of binging on Netflix all the time, right? So if you want to start reading more books or just start reading more in general, instead of aiming for like 50 pages, aim for 1 page every single night, though, consistently, or aim for 2 or 3 pages. Like, make it so ridiculously doable that your brain can't argue with it. And then if you still want to watch Netflix, then you can. But at least you have taken some time out and you have begun to build a momentum that is moving you forward, that is expanding you, that is expanding your knowledge base. The same thing goes for working out. Like, if you want to start working out, but you're out of shape, don't aim for like doing a 1-hour workout every single day. You probably won't be able to keep up with yourself. Aim for like 1 push-up. Aim for a 10-minute walk or a 5-minute walk. Aim for something, again, that is small and will create a win. It's like, man, at least I did it. At least I showed up for myself and I did it. Because what the Kaizen method teaches is that the goal isn't progress. The goal is to kill the resistance to starting. So that is the goal. You are killing the resistance to start. So you start small, but you do it every single day. And you are going to have a small win every single day. Step 2 is the Bushido mindset. This is purpose over feelings. And what this one really talks about is to live by a code, not motivation, not your mood, not even inspiration, but to live by a code. Because when you live by a code, you are going to show up every single day. The core principle of the Bushido mindset is do what is right because it is right, not because you feel like it. And I absolutely love that. And that is something that I'm practicing, I am implementing in my own life, and it allows me to show up no matter what. So you shift out of doing things dictated by your feelings, and you shift into living by a code, by a principle. It's like a code of ethics. And when you hold yourself to those standards, and this is why in previous videos I've mentioned before, you have to know what your standards are. When you hold yourself to these standards and you are very specific about the standards that you are holding yourself to, you are going to become a person, a version of yourself that overcomes any previous identities. This is how you truly embody. You overcome versions of yourself that would keep putting it off, that would say, I'll start tomorrow, which is one of the most toxic thoughts that we can possibly have, by the way. Remember, feelings are unstable, so relying on feelings is not a solid foundation. You have to rely on something solid within yourself. And this is why identifying your own foundation is so important. You have to know what the foundation of you is. What standards, what values, what principles build up your foundation? Because when you rely upon that and you live according to those code of ethics, you can actually master embodiment. You can master yourself. Because what I've learned is that discipline is really choosing your future self over your current mood or over your current feelings. That's what discipline really is. So under this beautiful energy today, what version of yourself would you like to expand? What identity would you like to embody? And can you be 1% better today than you were yesterday? It's that simple. And something very easy that you can do is to create your own code. So come up with like 3 to 5 principles that you are going to live by every single day. And one of those could be like, I don't check my phone before breakfast or before noon. Me personally, I don't check my phone before noon. I don't turn on data. I keep it off so that I'm not bothered by any notifications or anything like that. Another non-negotiable rule that you can live by on a daily basis is that you move your body every single day. Another one can be, I finish what I start. Another rule could be, I eat for longevity and energy. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, you can create these codes, these non-negotiable rules for yourself, and live by these rules every single day. Make that your foundation and just show up 1% better every single day according to that foundation, according to these rules. And I find living this way really simplifies your life, because now you're not guessing or wondering what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing because you know exactly the principles that in the codes that the rules that you are living by. And it's a really great way to keep yourself accountable too, because now there's no BS. There's no excuses. Like, you are either living by your code or you are not. Like, there's no gray area. There's no in between. Step 3 is clearing the path. This means that you are keeping your tools and your environment clean and ready to go at all times. It makes such a difference in my life when I have everything organized, everything ready to go, everything is clean. There's just no messing around. There's no wasting time. You are just so much more productive because you know exactly where to reach for your workout clothes in the morning because it's laid out, it's ready to go. You know exactly what you're going to have because you're meal prepping, you're planning your meals in advance, you're making sure that you're not bringing junk food into the house if eating clean is a priority. Like, there's so many different ways in which you can set yourself up, but having a clean environment and having an organized environment is extremely important for success. Like, you can't be successful when you are surrounded by junk, when your fridge is full of, or your cupboards are full of junk food. When you're constantly having to look for things, that was like a pet peeve of mine. That is something I actually can't stand. So for that reason, I know literally where everything is in my house, down to the last, smallest, silliest little thing. I just know where it is because it might be a little bit of like a perfectionism, but I just need to know where everything is because it allows me to feel organized. I don't spend time or waste time looking for things. I know exactly what drawer, what cupboard, everything is. Because think of it this way, chaos creates hesitation, right? And hesitation kills discipline. As soon as you start to hesitate about stuff, discipline is out the window. And what a lot of people don't realize is that your environment is stronger than your intentions. So if your environment isn't set up to support you, to visually cue you into the next step or into the rhythm that you have set up based on the code or the rules that you are going to follow on a daily basis, then you are always going to fall back to your default. You're not going to be able to embody that version of yourself, that disciplined version of yourself who shows up. So for example, like if your phone is beside your bed every single night, you're more likely going to scroll than if the phone was either further away from the bed, like not within reach, or if it was outside of the bedroom altogether. If you have to look for your gym clothes every single morning, then not only are you wasting time, but you're also going to hesitate. Now you're going to fall into hesitation to even go because now it's like, oh, it's so much effort by the time like I got to wash them now or I got to get this ready or whatever. And you're not going to do it. You're much more likely to not do it. So honestly, it just comes down to structuring your environment in a way that you make good habits easy and bad habits hard. So I stopped buying junk food. I stopped bringing it into the house, and then I don't have junk food. I stopped buying processed food a while ago, or buy very, very little processed food so that I don't eat processed food. This forces me to buy fresh, to grow my own food. I grow a lot of my own vegetables, and then that actually helps me to eat cleaner, to eat more organic. So it's like I'm doing whatever I can to set up my environment in such a way that it's going to support the good habits that I want to instill, that I want to embody. Because remember, more than anything, this is about embodiment, setting yourself up in a way that allows you to embody a new version of yourself. And step 4 is the 60-second rule. Because the hardest part of any journey is the first step, right? It's that first initial step that you have to take, to change something in your life, right? So anything that you're procrastinating on, tell yourself that you're going to do it for 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, you're off the hook. You don't have to do it anymore. But you are much more likely to actually continue doing it after the 60 seconds because it was never about starting. So like starting isn't the problem. It's avoiding starting is the problem. And that 60 seconds, when you just say, I'm only going to do this for 60 seconds, is all it takes for you to actually break the resistance. Because resistance is the only thing that causes procrastination. I have observed this within myself so many different times where the only reason why I was procrastinating to get started on something was because I was resisting it. But it's like you break that with the 60-second rule. You're literally defeating the invisible force that's keeping you stuck. Because we have to keep in mind that unstoppable discipline isn't a skill that we're born with. It is a skill that we master, and we master it over time. We master it through the code. So create that code. Create those non-negotiable rules for yourself, those 3 to 5 rules. You can make it more, but stick with 3 to 5 because you don't want to overwhelm yourself, and especially when you're just getting started. It is going to make such a difference in your life, and I feel like this is a topic that Spirit has me talking about today, specifically under this Venus-Jupiter conjunction, because so many of you are procrastinating. I was hearing like so good at procrastinating and convincing yourselves you're going to start something tomorrow and then you don't actually start it. But if you truly want expansion in your life, if you truly want to start experiencing yourself in a different way, a different version of you, a new identity, then this is how you embody that new identity. It's one small step, one small win at a time. Consistently, daily, you show up for 60 seconds if that's all you can start with, and you go from there. So to kind of summarize everything that I was talking about, get 1% better every day. Live by a code to act with purpose, not emotion. Control your environment to remove bad habits. Use the 60-second rule to instantly begin, to break through any procrastination. Do not wait for the perfect time to be disciplined, because the only time that exists is now. And you are always creating yourself in the now. Not in the future, not later, not yesterday, but right now. Master yourself, and you will master the world.